Let's talk about the things the UK does better than the US. Hey guys, it's Amanda. I hope you're having a lovely week. It's been absolutely boiling, so I hope you're all surviving. So, as many of you know, I'm an American, obviously, and I've lived in the UK for nearly 10 years now. So I feel like I've got a good grasp on both countries, enough to talk about what I think each country does better. Now, of course, we all know nowhere's perfect, but today I'm going to talk about all the things that the UK has over America. And I know you'll all let me know if you agree with my list, but I'd also like to know what you would add to it, so please put it in the comments. Remember, if you enjoy this video and would like to support the channel, make sure you give it a big thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on future content. I post weekly about my life as an American living in the UK and reaction videos. So if you have any video ideas, either put them in the comments or head over to my Instagram and say hello. Number 1, pubs. Until I moved to the UK, I'd never really been to a pub as they don't really exist in the States, at least not where I'm from anyway. But I had the best experience just sitting out in the beer garden drinking cider on a hot summer's day. And it was packed with people, but it was so relaxed. I was so used to bars, people went there for one goal, and that was just to get drunk. But that isn't really necessarily the case when it comes to pub culture in the UK. A lot of people just go there for a couple to unwind after a long day of work and just kind of, chill out. But it's really nice, and I really wish the US would adopt something similar. Number 2, healthcare. I've talked a lot about the differences in healthcare. I'm quite passionate about it. In fact, I've even done a whole video sharing shocking facts about the US healthcare system. And I'll put a link in the description if you guys would like to check it out. But since moving to the UK and experiencing firsthand what the NHS offers, I can and will do nothing but give them the utmost praise because I wouldn't be here without them. They literally saved my life. And yes, I know there isn't a perfect system, but coming from across the pond and seeing the struggles and debt people face because they can't afford proper care, I think the NHS? I think the NHS is pretty darn close. And I can only hope that someday the US will change their ways because the UK wins this one hands down every single time. Number 3, swearing. Honestly, it was a bit of a shock at first. Swearing is no big thing here. It's used in everyday conversations all the time. But I'm by no means saying that Americans don't curse, but I feel like a lot of times we do it out of anger or frustration. But nobody swears like the British. It just flows so naturally. Maybe it's the accent, I don't know. But plus, in my personal opinion, the swear words themselves are much more creative. Number 4, roundabouts. Studies have shown that roundabouts are more efficient and safer than intersections, which are popular in the States. Now, I wouldn't have said this years ago. I would have been the first to raise my hand up, admit that I absolutely hated them when I first started driving here. I just found them really confusing. It felt like a free-for-all. Everyone was just going crazy, going different directions. Obviously, they weren't, but that's how it felt. But now that I'm much more used to them, I do find them much quicker than intersections because you don't have to stop. If there's no one coming, you can just keep on going. Number 5, holiday entitlement. Probably one of the best shocks I had when I started working here was learning how much time I would have off. 28 days is unheard of. My family actually thought I was joking when I told them because employers in the States aren't required to give holiday. Some people get 2 weeks if they're lucky, some people don't get any. It just all depends where you work and how long you've worked there for. But it's something that I've really come to appreciate. It's a much better work-life balance for people. Number 6, travel. This one goes hand in hand with holiday. Never in a million years did I think I'd be able to travel the way that I have. It's so easy and accessible here compared to the US. A lot of Americans don't even have passports. And the same cannot be said for Brits. I feel like the US is much more focused on keeping travel within the country as it's so incredibly expensive to travel abroad. Whereas here, you can get cheap deals to Paris, Rome, wherever your little heart desires. Number 7, sarcasm. I never knew when someone was serious or when they were pulling my leg, so I had to ask all the time, which was a lot of fun for everyone involved. Because we Americans, we don't really use it nearly as much, so it took some getting used to. But I like to think I'm much better with it now. Number 8, drinking. Americans drink the equivalent of 470 pints of beer annually, and the average British drinker consumes 1,100 pints of beer in a year. Enough said. Brits could definitely outdrink Americans for 2 reasons. The alcohol percentage is higher here, and 2, the drinking culture is massive. It's not just about going out to get drunk, though. It's more of a social event after work or just to chill out. It's not always a huge ordeal, whereas most Americans don't drink nearly as often usually, but when they do go out, it's just to get drunk and that's it. Number 9, higher education. Both countries have great universities, but when it comes to paying costs and paying back student debt, the UK definitely has this one in the bag. So many Americans are crippled by their student debt, whereas in the UK, you don't have to start paying back until you make a certain salary, and even then, it's only a percentage of your earnings. Even better yet, after 20 to 25 years, your debts are written off. I know a lot of you guys told me about that in the comments. So it makes getting a degree way less scary as you're not worried about being financially crippled after school, which is incredible. So get on board, America. Number 10, recycling. I know it probably rounds?
Well done!
I know it probably sounds really silly that this made it onto the list, but I was so impressed that recycling was picked up straight from your house. And again, I'm not saying that Americans don't recycle, but it's not as common, at least not where I'm from, probably because it's not as easily accessible. To be honest, I can't even think where the closest recycling center is where I lived in Pennsylvania, which is a shame. Because I really think that people would be more inclined to do it if there were pickups, or at least making it easily accessible for people to do. Number 11, preserving history. If you'd watched my other videos, you know how impressed I was and still am at how well history is preserved in the UK. I love that the castles are hidden within the towns and cities, and things aren't always torn down to make room for new and modern buildings. Maybe it's down to the fact that in the US we don't have as many years of history to protect because we're a younger country. Maybe it's not as apparent. I don't know. But I've just really come to appreciate it. Number 12, portion control. It's no secret that Americans aren't great with portion control with all of our all-you-can-eat buffets and massive portions that may or may not contribute to the obesity issue. I've had so many comments from you guys saying that when you visited the States and went out to eat, you would share meals because it was so much food. And to be honest, I never even really realized it or thought about it until I moved to the UK. And I do feel like the portion sizes here are much more sensible. I know there are some that I missed out on, so make sure you let me know what you would add to the list. And also, I'll be doing the flip side of this video and do what the US does better. So if you think of anything, please put that in the comments as well. And as always, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, smash that like button if that's what you're into, and I'll see you in the next video.